pretty record, completely self-imploded against Neil Magny, but you've found your way back versus, I mean, listen, up and down, middleweight, welterweight, everywhere in between, wins against guys that you should win, losses to guys that you shouldn't have lost to, but a couple of them have aged well. Jack Della Maddalena, he's the champ. That aged pretty good, right? In a fight where, because when I watched it, I was there. I was live at that fight. And I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to sound very silly. I thought Kevin Holland won the fight in real time. In real time, you can't see. I don't got the angles. I'm sitting super far away. I was like, oh, Kevin Holland won the fight. JDM masterclassed him, apparently, right? If you go back and you really watch it. So it's like, all right, you have potential. MVP, we know that. Delidze, DeRitter, you give him grapplers, problems. And then Daniel Rodriguez, that one was inexplicable. He said it himself. He's like, dog, I should not have lost that fight. He was like a minus 600 favorite going into that fight. So it is what it is. But Mike Malott, it's interesting because I'm going to use Kevin Holland's word. He says he's about 2 steps behind the guys that I normally lose to. And I would love if you could try to break that down, AJ. What do you think he meant by that?
Yeah, absolutely, Derek. I think what one of the things that goes into that is Kevin Holland has fought top-tier opponents from 5 years ago in the UFC. A lot of those people are champs, are people that are contenders right here. I agree with him. There's levels to this game, and it seems like Mike Malott might just be those 2 levels below the people that are at that top upper echelon who Kevin Holland is losing to. I completely agree with that statement.
All right, now let's be real though, right? And when I say that, I don't mean that in any type of like weird way. I mean it in the sense of we know Kevin Holland is going to show up and we know exactly what the game plan is. Be long, try to land a really long right hand, couple of calf kicks, couple of karate style kicks or whatever the case may be, and try not to get taken down, right? Like we know that that's the game plan. And I would say normally against a guy like Mike Malott, who seems to be what's the baseball phrase? A 5-tool athlete or whatever the case may be. I don't even know what that means, but I know the sentiment of just like, this guy's really good kind of everywhere, right? I believe the same thing for Mike Malott. However, the eye test for Mike Malott, he didn't pass it. He didn't pass it when I was watching film right here. Because normally I would say if you're technical and if you're sharp, you're probably going to beat Kevin Holland just because he puts himself out of position so much with the big lunging shots, right? If he doesn't land the right hand, if the bomb doesn't go off, that went off multiple times 5 years ago, right? Cruise into a decision loss generally. But Mike Malott, man, he's a straight line offensive practitioner. And what I mean by that is everything is on a straight path. No angles are being cut. There's hardly any head movement. It's just line it up, and I'm going to try to land mine before I land yours. To me, that's a recipe for disaster. But I'm curious if you think he's going to mix it up and try to wrestle, just grapple up Kevin Holland and not give him that opportunity.
No, Derek, I don't think Mike Malott has that ability, or at least we haven't seen that ability with him either, because he did not pass the eye test for me as well. I think the only way Mike Malott's going to be able to go in there with Kevin Holland is be able to strike first, right? Because Kevin Holland, where they're going to go in, they're going to exchange at range. If Mike Malott's able to hit Kevin Holland at distance, and then just overwhelm him with that forward going pressure, and Kevin Holland isn't able to recover, right? He has to go back to the cage, try to mix it up, try to do some stuff like that. And Mike Malott is able to just overwhelm Kevin Holland going forward. I think that's going to be his best chance to win. Unless it's just you're feeling better than Kevin Holland, you are getting the best out of him 10 out of 10 times, and you can win a point fight, which I don't think is going to happen. I think Mike Malott's best chance right here is to overwhelm with pressure, because other than that, I actually think Kevin Holland, his ground game is going to be able to stuff what Mike Malott can do out there. At least we'll see in real time, but at least that's what I got from the tape watch.
And dog, I believe in Kevin Holland's jiu-jitsu off of his back, right? But if you don't get the sub, you're losing the fight. So like, can Mike Malott just ride it out with just control time, just a top half guard smash? Just probably, right? Like, I don't know. All I'm going to say is in this matchup, Kevin Holland, take everything I say with a grain of salt, folks, because Kevin Holland is the hardest guy for me to read. In my time watching and predicting fights, Kevin Holland goes up there with the guys that I'm consistently wrong about because he's so unpredictable. You know what I mean? He was like Khalil Rountree of the early days, where it's like, what version am I going to get this time around? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. So speaking of that, I missed on the Khalil Rountree pick 2 weeks ago. Again, here we go again. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's a story for another time. I think Mike Malott has the poise and the prestige, and that's why he's a minus 120 favorite right here. But I think that Kevin Holland at plus money is very, very lucrative. And cardio too. We know Kevin Holland isn't going to be gassed out round 3. Mike Malott, we cannot say the same necessarily, especially because Mike Malott, AJ, let's not forget, he did take the approach to bounce back. He was like, how am I going to win? Not the Charles Radke fight, but before that, how am I going to win? I'm just going to wrestle and decision and be boring. So we know Kevin Holland, he's like, if you're going to play this game, whatever, I'm just going to kind of quit on myself mid-fight. That's up there. I would stay away from this one, but if you're a degenerate and you're like, I need to throw some money on it, plus 100, Kevin Holland, and maybe another potential play that we'll talk about in a second. You know what I mean? I think that's up for grabs.
Yeah, I think it's up for grabs. This one, like Derek said, this one's for the degenerates. I think Kevin Holland has a real good shot right here. Obviously, Mike Malott can get things done. We'll see how it actually goes, but you can see right there, consensus pick, Kevin Holland.